I'll never forget the sound of my mother's voice when she called me that Tuesday morning. Not the words, though those would haunt me for months, but the tone. That sharp, entitled edge that said she wasn't asking. She was commanding. "Bonnie, Elena's moving in with you today. The movers are already on their way." My older sister. The golden child. The one who got the college fund while I worked 2 jobs through community college. The one who got the down payment for her dream home while I scraped together rent in a studio apartment. That sister was moving into my house. The house I bought with my own money, my own credit, my own sweat. And my mother's next words? "You have to take care of her now. She's family." I should have said no right then. But I didn't know yet just how much that one moment of weakness would cost me. Before I tell you what happened next, I need you to do something. If you've ever been the family scapegoat, the one who was expected to give everything while getting nothing in return, hit that like button right now. Because what I'm about to share isn't just my story, it's probably yours too. And if you don't engage with stories like this, platforms bury them, and the people who need to hear this most will never find it. Don't let that happen. My name is Bonnie Gilbert, I'm 27 years old, and I live in Seattle. Well, I lived in Seattle in a beautiful 3-bedroom house in Ballard that I closed on 6 months before this nightmare began. That house represented everything I'd fought for. Every double shift at the hospital where I work as a surgical nurse. Every weekend I spent studying for my BSN while my friends were out having fun. Every time I chose instant ramen over takeout so I could put another $100 toward my down payment. My house wasn't just a house. It was proof that I'd made it despite everything. You see, I grew up as the invisible child in the Gilbert family. My sister Elena, 3 years older, effortlessly beautiful, charming in that way that makes people forget she's also deeply selfish, was always the star. Our mother, Mary, made sure of it. When Elena wanted piano lessons, she got them. When I asked for art classes, Mom said we couldn't afford it. When Elena wrecked her car in high school, Dad Richard bought her a new one. When I needed a car for my job, they co-signed a loan and reminded me about it every month for 3 years. The pattern was clear, Elena was the investment. I was the obligation. I moved out at 19 and put myself through nursing school. It took me 7 years instead of 4 because I had to work full-time, but I did it. No help. No family money. Just me, my determination, and an unshakable belief that I deserved better than being someone's afterthought. By the time I was 26, I had my BSN, a solid job at Seattle Memorial, and enough saved for a down payment. I found a foreclosure that needed work, nothing I couldn't handle with YouTube tutorials and elbow grease, and I bought it. My house. My name on the deed. Mine. Elena, meanwhile, married her college boyfriend Lorenzo right after graduation. Lorenzo came from money, not rich, but comfortable, and his parents helped them buy a gorgeous Craftsman in Queen Anne. For bedrooms, original hardwood, a kitchen that belonged in a magazine. Mom bragged about it constantly. Elena's doing so well. Lorenzo is such a good provider. They're thinking about starting a family soon. I wasn't invited to their housewarming party. Mom said it was just family, which apparently didn't include me. I should have seen the cracks forming in Elena's perfect life, but I was too busy building my own. I picked up extra shifts, renovated my house room by room, started a small investment portfolio. I was thriving for the first time in my life. Then, 10 months ago, everything changed. I was just finishing a 13-hour shift when my phone rang. Mom's name flashed on the screen. We talked maybe once a month, always brief, always awkward. Her calling out of the blue made my stomach drop. "Bonnie, I need to talk to you about Elena. Is she okay?" Despite everything, she was still my sister. "She's getting divorced. Lorenzo cheated on her with some girl from his office. He wants her out of the house." My first reaction was genuine sympathy. Infidelity is devastating. "That's awful, Mom. I'm so sorry." Is she? She needs a place to stay. She's moving in with you. The words hit me like a physical blow. Not a question. A statement. What? Mom, I live alone. I don't have space for. You have 3 bedrooms, Bonnie. Don't be selfish. Your sister is going through the worst time of her life. She needs family support. Why can't she stay with you and Dad? A long pause. We're downsizing to a condo. We don't have room. They bought a 2-bedroom condo in Bellevue 3 months earlier. Funny how they had room to discuss it with Elena but never mentioned it to me. Mom, I really don't think this is a good idea. Elena and I aren't close, Anne. She's your sister. This isn't a debate. She's already packing. You can't just decide this for me. Bonnie Gilbert, do not raise your voice to me. After everything we've done for you, the least you can do is help your sister when she needs it. The movers are coming Tuesday. Be home. She hung up. I sat in my car in the hospital parking lot for 20 minutes, hands shaking. Part of me wanted to call back and scream. Part of me wanted to change my locks and turn off my phone. But there was this other part, the part that had spent 27 years trying to earn my mother's approval, that wondered if this was finally my chance. If I helped Elena, maybe Mom would finally see me as valuable. As good enough. That part of me was an idiot. I want you to pause this video for just 5 seconds and really think about this. How many times have you bent yourself into a pretzel trying to prove your worth to people who should have loved you unconditionally from the start? If this resonates with you, if you've ever sacrificed your peace for someone who wouldn't do the same for you, share this video. Someone in your life needs to hear this story. Don't let the algorithm hide this message. Tuesday came too fast. I'd spent the weekend stress cleaning my house and setting boundaries in my head. Elena could stay in the guest room. Temporarily. 3 months max while she got on her feet. She'd need to contribute to utilities and groceries. We'd split household chores. This could work if we both acted like adults. The movers arrived at 2 p.m. with 3 trucks. 3 trucks. I watched from my porch as they unloaded furniture, boxes, designer clothes, kitchen appliances I didn't need, decorative items that didn't match my aesthetic, and what appeared to be Elena's entire life. My guest room couldn't hold 1/10 of it. Elena arrived an hour later in her white Range Rover, a wedding gift from Lorenzo's parents that she got to keep. She stepped out wearing Lululemon and oversized Chanel sunglasses, looking like she was arriving at a resort, not moving into her younger sister's house after a divorce. She hugged me briefly. She smelled like expensive perfume and entitlement. Thank God you have space for me, she said, surveying my house with an expression I couldn't quite read. Lorenzo kept everything. Can you believe that? The house, most of the furniture, even the dog. My lawyer says I'll get a settlement eventually, but these things take time. Elena, we need to talk about. The movers need direction. Where should they put my bedroom set? Your bedroom set? Elena, I have furniture. You're staying in the guest room. She laughed. Actually laughed. That tiny room? Bonnie, I can't fit my clothes in there, let alone live in it. I'll take the master. You can move to the guest room. My heart started pounding. This is my house. You're staying in the guest room. Her smile faltered. Are you seriously going to make me sleep in that closet while you take the master? I'm going through a divorce, Bonnie. The least you could do is make me comfortable. The guest room is perfectly comfortable. I renovated it myself. Mom said you'd take care of me. Taking care of you doesn't mean giving you my bedroom. She stared at me for a long moment, then pulled out her phone. 30 seconds later, mine rang. Mom. Bonnie, Elena says you're being difficult. I'm setting reasonable boundaries. She just lost her marriage and her home. Let her have the master bedroom. It's the Christian thing to do. We weren't even religious. Mom, this is my house. And she's your sister. Stop being petty. I didn't raise you to be cruel. The words hit their target. I'd heard variations of them my whole life. Stop being difficult. Stop being selfish. Stop being less than Elena. I felt myself caving, that old familiar shame creeping in. Fine. She can have the master. For now. I moved my clothes into the guest room that night while Elena directed movers to rearrange my house to accommodate her furniture. My beautiful mid-century modern couch went to the garage to make room for her sectional. My dining table, the one I'd refinished by hand, got replaced with hers. She even switched out my kitchen appliances because hers were better quality. By midnight, my house didn't look like mine anymore. It looked like Elena's house, where I happened to live. I should have kicked her out that first night. I should have called those movers back and had them reload everything. But I didn't. Because somewhere deep down, I still thought this might be the thing that finally made my mother love me. The first week, Elena was almost pleasant. She thanked me for letting her stay. She bought groceries once. She even cooked dinner, though she left the kitchen a disaster for me to clean. Week 2, the mask started slipping. I came home from a 12-hour shift to find Elena hosting what she called a small gathering with 6 of her friends. They'd gone through 2 bottles of my expensive whiskey, a gift from my colleague Patrick that I'd been saving, and left rings on my coffee table. You should have texted you were coming home, Elena said when I asked what was happening. We would have kept it down. I live here, Elena. I don't need to announce when I'm coming home. Well, you're being rude to my guests. They're here supporting me through my divorce. They were here getting drunk on my liquor in my house while I stood there in scrubs, exhausted, being made to feel like an intruder in my own space. Week 3, I noticed money missing from the envelope where I kept cash for the house cleaner. $200. When I asked Elena about it, she said she borrowed it for a spa day because she was stressed. Elena, you can't just take my money. I'll pay you back when my settlement comes through. God, Bonnie, why are you being so uptight about everything? Week 4, I got my credit card bill. $1,700 more than usual. Elena had found my card in my desk and used it to buy clothes, get her nails done, order takeout daily. When confronted, she cried. I'm going through a divorce. I needed things to make myself feel human again. You have money, Bonnie. I have nothing. Lorenzo took everything. So you stole from me? Borrowed. I'm your sister, not a thief. She called Mom, who called me. Bonnie, your sister is in crisis. If you can't spare a little money to help her feel better, I don't know what to say. I'm disappointed in you. That was the first time I cried. Not because of the money, though $1,700 was a lot, but because no matter what I did, I was always the villain in their story. By month 2, Elena had fully moved into the role of permanent resident with zero intention of leaving. She wasn't looking for jobs. She wasn't apartment hunting. She spent her days sleeping until noon, binge-watching reality TV, and spending what was left of the money Lorenzo had left in their joint account before freezing it. She'd also started bringing men home. Not just one boyfriend. Multiple men. Different ones each week. I'd come home to find strangers in my house, eating my food, using my bathroom, treating my space like a hotel. Can you please stop bringing random men to my house? I asked after finding a stranger asleep on my couch at 7 a.m. What am I supposed to do, Bonnie? Stay celibate because you're jealous? I'm not jealous. I'm uncomfortable with strangers having keys to my house. I didn't give him a key. He just stayed over. Don't be such a prude. When I tried to set a curfew, she laughed in my face. When I asked her to contribute to utilities, my electric bill had doubled with her home all day, she said she was between financial situations. When I suggested she get a job, any job, she looked at me like I'd suggested she eat glass. I'm not working retail, Bonnie. I have a degree in communications. Then use it. I'm not flipping burgers or folding clothes. I have standards. Standards, but apparently no problem living off her younger sister indefinitely. The house deteriorated. Elena didn't clean. Ever. Dishes piled up in the sink. Laundry covered the floor. She used all the hot water every morning, leaving me with cold showers before my shifts. She ate the meal prep I made for my work week, then complained there was nothing to eat. She parked her Range Rover in the garage, forcing me to park on the street where my car got broken into twice. My friends stopped coming over. My colleague Tyler visited once, took one look at the chaos, and asked if I was okay. I lied and said yes. I wasn't okay. I was drowning. But it gets worse. Month 3. Valentine's Day weekend. I planned a quiet weekend to myself, maybe binge watch some shows, do a face mask, pretend my life wasn't falling apart. I'd been working 60-hour weeks to cover the increased expenses Elena had brought into my life, and I was exhausted. I came home Friday night to chaos. Not regular Elena chaos. Full disaster. There were at least 20 people in my house. Music blasting. Alcohol everywhere. Someone had broken the antique lamp I'd bought at an estate sale and spent weeks restoring. 2 people were making out in my bedroom that I'd surrendered. Someone had vomited in the hallway bathroom. I found Elena in the kitchen, drunk, laughing with her friends. What is this? I shouted over the music. A party. Bonnie, lighten up. Have a drink. Get everyone out. Now. Oh my God, you're so embarrassing. These are my friends. This is my house. I didn't consent to this. Actually, one of her friends, a guy named Samuel I'd never met, slurred. Elena said this was her house. She said her little sister was just crashing here. The room went quiet. Elena's face flushed. Is that what you've been telling people? My voice was shaking. That this is your house? I didn't, I just meant. Get out. All of you. Out. It took an hour to clear everyone out. Elena disappeared to stay with a friend, leaving me to clean up the destruction alone. Broken glass. Cigarette burns on my furniture. Red wine stained into my carpet. Holes in the drywall where someone had gotten rowdy. The damages totaled over $3,000. The emotional damage was incalculable. I changed the locks that night. When Elena came back Sunday afternoon, her key didn't work. She pounded on the door until I answered. You changed the locks? You threw a party in my house without permission, lied about whose house it is, and caused thousands in damages. Yes, I changed the locks. Bonnie, I'm sorry. I was drunk. It got out of hand. You need to leave. What? Find somewhere else to stay. You can't live here anymore. Her face crumpled. Real tears this time. Please. I have nowhere to go. Lorenzo won't talk to me. Mom and Dad don't have room. My friends are tired of me couch surfing. Please, Bonnie. I'm your sister. And there it was. The magic word that had controlled me my whole life. Sister. You have 1 week to find somewhere else. She called Mom immediately. Within 5 minutes, my phone was ringing. This call was different. Mom wasn't disappointed. She was furious. How dare you kick your sister out? She has nowhere to go. She destroyed my house, Mom. Thousands of dollars in damage. So what? You made good money. You can afford to fix it. That's not the point. The point is that you're abandoning family when they need you most. What kind of person does that? The kind who's tired of being treated like a doormat. You're being selfish and cruel. If you do this, don't expect us to be there when you need help. When have you ever been there for me? Silence. Long, cold silence. You're an ungrateful, spiteful girl. I'm ashamed to call you my daughter. She hung up. I sat on my floor, the floor I'd refinished myself, in the house I'd bought with my own money, and I made a decision. Not in anger. In clarity. I was done. Stop right here. If you've made it this far, you already know how this story ends, don't you? You know that the only way out of toxic family dynamics is to walk away completely. But so many people can't take that step because they think they're alone. Comment below I'm done too if you've reached this point. Let's build a community of people who chose themselves over obligation. Let's make sure nobody faces this alone. Comment now. This is important. That week was hell. Elena didn't look for a place. She stayed with her friend Keisha but came by daily to get her things, which really meant guilt-tripping me into letting her stay. Mom called every day with some variation of how could you. Dad called once, uncomfortable and brief, basically asking me to just give in to keep the peace. I didn't budge. On day 7, I came home to find Elena loading her furniture into a U-Haul. She'd enlisted our cousin Tasha and her husband Patrick to help. They wouldn't make eye contact with me. Family gossip had clearly painted me as the villain. Where are you going? I asked. Mom and Dad are letting me use their guest room. The condo that supposedly had no room. I thought they were downsized. They made room. Because that's what family does. She left without saying goodbye. I spent the next 3 days deep cleaning and repairing my house. I got my furniture out of storage. Patched the walls. Replaced what was ruined. Slowly, my home started to feel like mine again. I also did something else. Something I should have done years ago. I went to therapy. My therapist, Dr. Milan, was a kind woman in her 50s who specialized in family trauma. In our first session, I told her everything. The favoritism. The parentification. The endless cycle of giving while receiving nothing. The guilt. The shame. The desperate need for approval from people who would never give it. She listened without judgment. Then she said something that changed everything. Bonnie, you've been trying to earn love from people who see you as a resource, not a person. You can't make someone love you by depleting yourself. You can only teach them that you're available for exploitation. I cried for an hour. Over the next few months, Dr. Milan helped me understand that I wasn't the problem. I'd never been the problem. My family had scapegoated me because I was competent enough to exploit but different enough to exclude. They kept me close enough to use but far enough to deny responsibility for me. I learned about boundaries. Real ones. Not the kind you set and then feel guilty about enforcing. The kind you set because you understand your worth isn't negotiable. I learned that, but their family is not a magic phrase that erases abuse. That DNA doesn't obligate you to endure toxicity. That sometimes the healthiest thing you can do is walk away. So I did. I didn't call my parents. Didn't text Elena. Didn't show up for holidays. I simply stopped. Stopped initiating. Stopped responding to guilt trips. Stopped setting myself on fire to keep them warm. The first month, they blew up my phone. Mom left voicemails ranging from tearful, "How can you do this to your mother?" to angry, "You're going to regret this when we're gone." Elena sent long texts about how hurt she was, how I'd abandoned her in her time of need, how I was tearing the family apart. I didn't respond. Dr. Milan had taught me that engaging with manipulation just gives it power. By month 2, the messages slowed. By month 3, they stopped. I won't lie, the silence was hard at first. There were moments when I almost broke down and called, moments when the guilt felt like it would crush me. But I had Dr. Milan. I had my job. I had friends who actually valued me, Tyler, my colleague Jane, my neighbor Richard who'd always been kind. I started building a life that wasn't defined by fixing other people's messes. I got a promotion at work. I started dating a man named Lorenzo, yes, same name as Elena's ex, which made me laugh, who was kind and stable and actually interested in my thoughts and feelings. I adopted a dog from the shelter, a sweet golden retriever mix I named Lockwood. I took a vacation to Hawaii, my first real vacation in years. I was happy. Genuinely, surprisingly happy. Then, 6 months after I'd gone no contact, I got a call from an unknown number. Against my better judgment, I answered. Bonnie? It's Tasha. My cousin. Elena's helper during the move out. What do you want, Tasha? I need to tell you something. About Elena. My stomach dropped. Is she okay? Physically, yes. But Bonnie, she's living with mom and dad, and it's bad. Really bad. She's not working. She's just existing. Sleeping all day, partying at night. She wrecked her Range Rover drunk driving last month. Mom and dad are covering everything, her legal fees, her expenses, everything. They refinanced their condo to pay for it. Why are you telling me this? Because they're blaming you. They're telling everyone you abandoned Elena, that you caused all of this by kicking her out. And I believed them until I stayed there for a weekend. Bonnie, she treats them the way she treated you. She's bleeding them dry, and they're letting her because they can't admit they created this. I felt nothing. No satisfaction. No vindication. Just nothing. I'm sorry that's happening to them. That's it? Don't you care? Tasha, I set boundaries. I offered temporary help with conditions. Elena violated every boundary, destroyed my home, and showed zero appreciation. My parents supported her in that. They made their choice. This is the consequence. But they're family. So am I. And they never treated me like it. I hung up. That night, I didn't feel guilty. I felt free. It's been a year since I cut contact. In that time, I've learned something crucial. The people who love you don't make you negotiate for basic respect. They don't require you to destroy yourself to prove your worth. They don't use your kindness as a weapon against you. My life now looks nothing like it did during those 3 months of hell. My house is mine again, truly mine. Every piece of furniture chosen by me, every color on the wall selected because I loved it. Lorenzo, my boyfriend, helped me build a garden in the backyard. Lockwood has his favorite spot by the window. I host dinners for friends who appreciate the invitation. I got another promotion. I'm now a charge nurse, making nearly 6 figures. I've maxed out my retirement contributions for the first time ever. I'm saving for a down payment on a rental property. I'm in love with a man who thinks my ambition is attractive, not threatening. Who encourages my therapy appointments. Who's never once made me feel like my needs are negotiable. I have friends, real friends, who showed up when I was struggling and never asked for anything in return. Jane brings me coffee on hard days. Tyler invites me to family dinners. Richard, my neighbor, saves packages that get misdelivered and brings them over with homemade cookies. This is what family is supposed to feel like. Chosen. Mutual. Safe. I heard through Tasha, who's apologized and become an unexpected ally, that Elena finally got a job. Retail, at a department store. The kind of work she swore she'd never do. Mom and Dad apparently ran out of money to support her, their retirement savings depleted by her legal bills and general irresponsibility. They had to sell the condo and move into a smaller apartment. Elena's living in a studio now, supporting herself for the first time in her life. According to Tasha, she's miserable but functioning. Mom called me once, about 3 months ago. I almost didn't answer, but curiosity won. Bonnie. It's your mother. I know. A long pause. How have you been? I'm well. You? We've been managing. Your father's health isn't great. The stress of everything with Elena has been hard on him. I waited. I knew what was coming. We were hoping you might come for dinner. It's been so long. We miss you. There it was. Not an apology. Not acknowledgement of anything they'd done. Just we miss you, which really meant we need something from you. Mom, I'm not interested in resuming a relationship with you unless you're willing to acknowledge what happened and make genuine changes. What happened? Bonnie, you walked away from this family. I set boundaries, and you punished me for it. You've never apologized. You've never acknowledged that asking me to sacrifice my home, my peace, and my financial stability for Elena was wrong. Until you do, we have nothing to discuss. So you're going to abandon your parents in our old age? After everything we did for you? And there it was. The same manipulation. The same guilt. The same refusal to take responsibility. Goodbye, Mom. I haven't spoken to her since. Here's what I need you to understand, this story isn't unique. Thousands of people are living this right now. Sacrificing themselves on the altar of family obligation while being treated as less than by the people who should love them most. First, like this video. I know that sounds trivial, but these stories only reach the people who need them if you engage. Someone scrolling right now is in the exact situation I was in a year ago, and they need to know they're not alone. Don't let this message die. Second, share this. Send it to someone who needs permission to put themselves first. Post it where people can find it. Be the person you needed when you were struggling. Third, and this is the most important, make a plan. You don't have to cut contact tomorrow. You don't have to blow up your life. But start setting boundaries. Start going to therapy. Start building a life where your value isn't determined by how much you sacrifice. My name is Bonnie Gilbert. I'm 28 years old now. I live in Seattle in a house I bought myself, filled with furniture I chose, with a dog I adore and a man who loves me. I have parents and a sister I don't speak to. And I'm okay with that. Because I learned that you don't owe people your destruction just because you share DNA. You don't owe abusers forgiveness just because they're related to you. You don't owe anyone access to your life if they treat it like a resource to extract rather than a gift to cherish. The golden child doesn't always win. Sometimes, the scapegoat builds a better life by refusing to play the game anymore. Elena got what she wanted, my parents' full attention and support. And it bankrupted them emotionally and financially. She has a studio apartment and a retail job she hates. She has parents who resent the burden she became. She has a life built on entitlement that reality finally caught up with. I have peace. I have self-respect. I have a future I'm excited about. I didn't get revenge. I didn't ruin anyone's life. I just stopped letting them ruin mine. That's not cruelty. That's survival. And if you're in a situation like I was, if you're the family ATM, the emotional support animal, the scapegoat who's expected to give endlessly while receiving nothing, please hear this. You deserve better. You deserve relationships built on mutual respect, not obligation. You deserve to keep the money you earn, the home you bought, the peace you've fought for. You deserve to be loved, not used. And sometimes, the most loving thing you can do, for yourself, is walk away. I did. And my only regret is that I didn't do it sooner. If this story resonated with you, if you've ever been where I was, drop a comment. Tell your story. Let's build a community of people who chose themselves. Because that's not selfish. That's the bravest thing you can do.